Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day, and above all else, that you are indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to another segment of Ranking the Albums. Now, today I'm going to be ranking the albums of Pete Townshend. Pete Townshend, co-founder of The Who, guitarist, main songwriter of the band, also pretty much multi-instrumentalist. Now, in researching Pete Townshend's solo albums, in terms of the rankings, I was very surprised to find out that Pete Townshend has only released officially seven solo studio albums. He has released collaborative albums with Ronnie Lane of the Small Faces and albums with his spiritual advisor, Mara Baba. But to find out that he only released seven studio albums, considering the fact that he's been in the business since the 1960s, I found that very interesting. And he's also gone on to mount stage musicals for Tommy and Quadrophenia, just to name a couple. And he's also released three compilations of B-sides called Scoop, you know. So he's been quite busy. And also he has written over 100 songs in his catalog. So, you know, it's been very busy. But again, I just was surprised that we have only seven albums to look at. Now, coming in at number seven, we have The Iron Man, the musical by Pete Townshend. Now, it was released on June 27th, 1989. Has a playing time of 45 minutes and 36 seconds, released through Atlantic Records, produced by Pete Townshend. The album is based on the story of the same name by Ted Hughes, and Warner Brothers would eventually buy and adapt the story and change the name to The Iron Giant, having Pete Townshend serve as the executive producer. The Iron Man was recorded between 88 and 89. I did see The Who on the reunion tour after this album came out, and they did perform a couple of songs from uh, the Iron Man uh, soundtrack musical that was released. Now, the two singles that were released from the Iron Man were "I Won't Run Anymore," featuring co-lead vocals with Deborah Conway, and "A Friend Is a Friend," which the video was all over Much Music in Canada and also on MTV in the US. Now, this album is basically a radio play telling the story of the Iron Man. And it features contributions on vocals from John Lee Hooker, Nina Simone, uh, Deborah Conway, China, his backup singer. Now, I do like the album, but, again, when you do these lists, w- you know, some of these albums have to go at the bottom of the list, right? When you try and rank as to what you like more. And it doesn't mean that because an album again is at the bottom of the list that it's bad in any shape, form, or fashion. Other songs of note on this album are Man Machines, which is like 42 seconds, vocals by Simon Townsend, uh, Pete's brother. I Eat Heavy Metal with vocals by John Lee Hooker. Now, in terms of this album, um, as a radio play, I don't know if it really works. I think that maybe had he had mounted it as a fully fledged stage musical and then maybe released it as a soundtrack to the stage musical, I think maybe it would have worked better. But I really don't think that it really works as just an album and, listed as a radio play kind of thing, right? Other songs of note on the album is Fast Food with Nina Simone on lead vocals. I love Nina Simone. I think she's fantastic. But again, does this work? Well, it is what it is, right? That's number seven. So as I go up my list here, coming in at number six, we have Rough Mix, released September 16th, 1977. It's a collaborative album with Ronnie Lane of the Small Faces, released through MCA and Polydor, recorded in the winter of '76 while the band, The Who, were on a break, and spring of '77, has a playing time of 41 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, for me, I like Townsend's tracks more than I like Ronnie Lane's tracks. I don't know why. I just think that Pete Townsend has more to offer on his tracks than Ronnie Lane does. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. The album starts off with the track My Baby Gives It Away. We won't go into that. 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Nowhere to Run is a Ronnie Lane track. And basically, what they've done here is they've divvied up the track listing. One track to Townsend, one track credited to Ronnie Lane. And there's, a couple of, uh, one or two songs that are, a co-write. I do like the third track, the title track, Rough Mix, which is the instrumental. I think that's great. The guitar work on that track is amazing. But overall, it's Ronnie Lane's vocals that kind of ruin it for me on this album. But if you're a completist, this is the album for you. Coming in at number five, we have Who Came First, released October of 1972 through MCA. This is considered Pete Townshend's first official studio release, solo release, recorded from 1969 and 1972. Again, produced by Pete Townsend. Playing time of 38 minutes and 2 seconds, so relatively short for CDs. Now, I do like this album. You here, features a track, the lead off track, Pure and Easy, which, if I remember correctly, is a track that was demoed originally intended for The Who, for Who's Next, and there's a version of this that appears on the massive Who's Next Lifehouse box set, which I do have, and if you guys are able to get it, please do. Other songs of note, Evolution, Forever's No Time at All, the Billy Nichols track. Other songs of note too is Nothing Is Everything. Let's See Action. Good track. Really good guitar playing on this album. Other songs of note, there's a Heartache Following Me, Ray Baker track. It's just, yeah. I mean, just because it's at five, it doesn't mean it's a bad album. But yeah, I do kind of get the feeling that this album, not that, okay, when I say the word demo, I don't mean a 10th generation done on a cassette that was, put through some, like mixing and altering on a console desk. I mean that these could pass for really high quality demos that maybe Townsend decided didn't want to alter or touch. I know that when Prince released his album Dirty Mind, that in 1980, that Warner Brothers wanted him to touch up the album and do a proper version, and he wanted a bare bones approach on the album, as you saw by the cover. But he also wanted a bare bones approach. And I do like the cover of Who Came First because you saw him standing on eggshells, Pete Townsend, and the fact that when I know of Pete Townsend in interviews, he is not shy. So the fact that he's standing on eggshells on the cover is quite comical to me. But anyway, that's number five. Coming in at number four, as I go through my list here, there we go. We have Psychoderelict, released June 15th, 1993 through Atlantic Records. Now, this is considered to be, sorry, Pete Townsend's last official solo album. It was recorded between 1990 and 1993, again produced by Pete Townsend. There are two versions to this album. First of all, this is written as a radio play. Um, Now, there are two versions to this album. There's a 15 track music only version, and there's a 21 track which features little dialogue excerpts here and there. Now, this tells a story of an aging rock star who is watching his fortune dwindle, and his agent is pushing him to write more music and release it in order to get more to make more money. And you you got to kind of wonder why the agent wants him to release more music. So maybe he could take something off the top. I'm not sure. But this basically tells a story of this aging rock star and his conflicts within himself as an individual. It's a good album. It has modern production, but it's not saturated in modern 90s production. These songs could be performed live on stage. This is not just an in-studio creation type of an album. It is good. Songs of note are English Boy, Let's Get Pretentious, which I do believe was a single, uh, Early Morning Dreams, which has a great melody, I Want That Thing. It is a good album. Um, Outlive the Dinosaur is another good track. And that is one of the more, I guess you'd say, I wouldn't say ass shaking, but you know what? You can tap your foot to it, bop your head. You can get into it. Um, Now, a bit of background on this. Some of the music on this album was used in another piece he was working on called The Boy Who Heard Music. So it got its germination from this album. And this album is considered to be the follow-up to uh, the sequel to, sorry, to The Iron Man, right? It is a good album. It is a good album. That's number four. Coming in at number three, we have White City, a novel, released November 11th, 1985, recorded from November of 84 to July of 1985, produced by Chris Thomas, released on Atco Records in the US, has a playing time of 38 minutes and 27 seconds. Now, this is the album that features the massive hit single Face to Face. Now, when this album came out, it's got to be said, this album was all over the radio. These songs were like played like Face to Face, the video. Forget about it. It was like, I didn't mean to go Godfather on you, but forget about it. It was all over Much Music and MTV at the time. Um, and, good melody, good, ass shaking rhythm. Um, the album starts off with Give Blood, uh, fantastic track. Other songs of note are Brilliant Blues. Again, you have Face to Face, Hiding Out, Secondhand Love. Also, other songs of note are Crashing by Design, I Am Secure. This album features a track co-written with David Gilmour of Pink Floyd called White City Fighting. Sorry, and David Gilmour is also featured on a concert that uh, Pete Townshend did as part of a live series that was released as a box set earlier in 2024. This is a good album. I do like Chris Thomas's production on this album. He tends to really go for like a full snare drum sound when he does his productions. And yeah, it is good. It is good. So coming in at number two, as I go up the list here, Empty Glass, released April 21st, 1980. Uh, Recorded from November of 79 to February of 1980. Again, produced by Chris Thomas, released on Atco Records. Now, Empty Glass, fantastic rock album. This album was all over the radio when it came out in 1980, featuring, the tracks Rough Boys that starts off the album. Really good, just, how can I put this? A very rebel kind of track of heavy guitars, just beautifully done, just beautifully done. The video got heavy airplay when it was released. This is pre Much Music. This is, pre any other type of, sorry, music video channel that would have come out in Canada or the US at the time. This video did get a lot of airplay when it was released. And other songs of note are Let My Love Open the Door, which has been featured on other various movies over the years. Uh, Keep On Working was another good song. I do believe that that was a single. A little, a little is enough is another good track. And then you have, the title track on the album. Good album, really good album. I for a while there was gonna feature this album as my number one, but you know what? Another one beat beat it out. Okay, and number one album on the list is All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes, released June 14th, 1982, recorded from 1981 to 1982. Again, produced by Chris Thomas, released on Echo Records. Now, other tracks recorded for this album that were B-sides is a track called Body Language, which was featured on a 1983, the first compilation, sorry, of B-sides, called Scoop. Okay. Other songs of B-sides that were written, Man Watching, which was the B-side to Face Dances Part 2. Um, and this album, All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes, was released just 3 months before the final Who album, It's Hard. Okay. Now, I forgot that this album even existed at all. Uh, and when I heard it, when I was listening to it, I loved it. I love the production. The drums have a really full, rich sound, especially on the snare and the bass. Uh, the guitar work is amazing on this album. The melodies are there. Now, some of the songs, like "Stop Hurting People," the lead off track, he almost Townsend almost does a talking kind of uh, a talking thing over on the verses, not a rap not a rap, but almost like a spoken word. Sorry, my words are not coming out today. A spoken word tone through the verses, and then the choruses are sung, but it's done beautifully. It's exquisitely done. The album overall is a good mixture of art rock, art pop, um, and there's just something about it that put it over the top for me. It has to be the production for me. It can't be any other reason for me. Again, songs I've known on the album are "Stop Hurting People," "The Sea Refuses No River," "Prelude," which is only like a minute 31 seconds, "Face Dances Part 2," 3 minutes and 24 seconds, which was a single. I love that you know um melody on the track, and the melody does have an Asian feel to it. You know, other songs of note are "Exquisitely Bored." Uh, "Communication" is another good track. And as I scroll down here, again, other songs of note are "Stardom and Acton," "Uniforms," which was another single. I love Uniforms. "North Country Girl," "Somebody Save Me," uh, "Slit Skirts." Every song on this album is fantastic. Okay. There is not one song on this album that I would skip. Okay. And usually, you know, with an album, there was like maybe half an album or like one or two songs that you just can't take. This album, for me, every song is great. 11 tracks and all, beautifully done. Right. So there you have it, guys. My rank in the albums of Pete Townsend. Please put down in the comments below, down there, your opinions, your rankings of Pete Townsend, of his albums. And yeah, no right or wrong answers, just opinions. So that's it for now. Please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. I've got more shows coming up with Jim Bricker and Ken Cheshire, and Bill Schuster is making his return to the channel. We're going to be doing a four-panel episode on four-person panel episode, sorry, on top five albums of Miles Davis. That's going to be a major show. So that's coming up very soon, and more ideas that we're working on and that we're going to bring to you as soon as we humanly can. Okay? Please look after yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon with more videos. Bye for now.